Thank you very much to Senior Advisor Jared Kushner and Ambassador O'Brien, and I will take a few of your questions on other matters, if you have any.
Yes, Deborah. Thank you, Kayleigh. The President has written memoranda that give 5 states 100% of reimbursement for their National Guard costs dealing with the coronavirus. A number of governors are trying to get on that list too, including Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak. Have you had a chance to set up a time for them to talk? And the National Governors Association says that the criteria for being one of those states that gets 100%, not 75%, aren't clear. Can you tell me, how do you make the cut where you're 100% and not 75%?
So first, let me note that in March, President Trump became the first president to authorize use of the National Guard under Title 32 status with 100% cost share. The president supports the men and women of our National Guard. This is a rarely used tool, but the president was willing to take this decisive action. 75% of the cost share is still giving states tremendous, unprecedented support, and states can utilize their coronavirus relief fund dollars to cover the remaining 25% if they need to. Specifically, a few states made direct cases to the president, and he obliged to support them at 100%, but I won't go state by state as to where things stand.
Can you explain why some states would?
Yes.
Question about payroll tax and the president's comments yesterday. What did he mean by when he said he was going to terminate the payroll tax? And a secondary question, if he's reelected, what should Americans believe about his commitment to Social Security?
Yeah, he has unwavering commitment to Social Security, making sure that it is fully funded and that our seniors are taken care of. I've heard him express that privately and publicly a myriad of times. What he was meaning yesterday is that he wants permanent forgiveness of the deferral. He's, of course, deferred the payroll tax to the end of the year, and he wants to make that a permanent forgiveness of the deferral come next year, because it's very important for specifically low and middle income Americans, since it's a regressive tax.
In the long term, though, does he think that the payroll tax should go away?
The president's very clear on this matter that he wants a permanent forgiveness of the deferral. That's as far as he's gone, and he's gone even further to say he's going to make sure that Social Security is fully funded. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
The lead, and then we'll go to you.
Okay, so you voted by the U.S. mail. The president has voted by the U.S. mail. Many of his top people have voted by the mail. Why is he trying to prevent ordinary Americans from voting by mail?
So first, let me note, I've voted absentee. The president's voted absentee. He's always been for voting absentee for a reason. What he is not for is mass mail-in voting, or perhaps, to make it even clearer, mass mail-out voting, where everyone on the voting rolls is mailed out a ballot. Voting rolls in Los Angeles County, for example, you have 117% of the county registered to vote. How does that even make sense? It doesn't. And that would mean that in the least 17% of the ballots floating around would be subject to potential fraud. So that's what the president is standing firmly against, but he has always been for absentee for a reason. Yes.
Kayleigh, we learned today that still roughly 15.5 million Americans are without a job. Nancy Pelosi spoke yesterday with the Treasury Secretary. Seemingly, there was no progress on that call for the 15.5 million Americans and millions others who could absolutely care less about the politics of it all. What would you tell them is coming next, considering that it seems as if nothing is moving policy-wise going forward?
Yeah, what I would say is this. Secretary Mnuchin said yesterday, I am willing to move forward with legislation that provides funds to schools, childcare, food, vaccines, hospitals, PPP for small businesses, rental assistance, broadband, airports, state and local government assistance, and liability protection for universities, schools, and businesses. He's been unmistakable, this administration has and this president has. We're willing to move forward on that. What we're not willing to do is rubber stamp a behemoth $3.4 trillion deal that the Democrats put forward that was fundamentally unserious, that would have made ballot harvesting mainstream, that was a Democrat wish list. That's what we'll not move forward with. But this president, out of anyone has taken action, serious action on eviction protection, serious action on unemployment insurance, on a payroll tax cut, student loan forgiveness in his executive capacity. And what I would say, the state of things now is, you have Nancy Pelosi saying we were willing to come down $1 trillion if they came up $1 trillion. Well, it's fundamentally unserious because the Democrats, the chief of staff has told me, wouldn't even tell us what they would take out of the $1 trillion. So they said we'd come down $1 trillion, but wouldn't list out the things that they would take out of their Democrat wish list. So Nancy Pelosi needs to come back from recess and negotiate because the American people deserve better.
Conservatives who have made the argument that $3 trillion, give or take, has already been spent and no more needs to be spent. If there isn't a deal that is viable, is the White House of the position that since $3 trillion has been spent, it's okay, we don't need to spend any more?
No, the president is all about what is best for America's families. He wants to see funding for our schools, direct payments to Americans. He's protected the American people in every way he can in his executive capacity. But as you noted, in terms of the fiscal cost of things and the height of this, when the economy was shut down, there was a $2 trillion deal negotiated. Next, after that, when the economy was reopened, it was a $1 trillion deal. So for the Democrats to say we want more than what we even negotiated and passed during an economic shutdown, and to say we need $3.4 trillion, it's really an unserious proposal. Kevin.
Thank you, Kayleigh. Your reaction to unemployment claims dipping below 1 million, 1.7 million new jobs as well, and blue state governors are politicizing school closures, says the president. What did he mean by that?
Yeah, what he means by that is that when you look around the world, many countries in the Western world have opened their schools, and that we as the United States can do the same. We can find a way. The president, the White House has released guidance as to how to make that happen. And he doesn't want a decision that is so important for our children to be politicized, because he believes it's in the public health interest of the child to be back in school. And I've listed out for you all the reasons for that previously. And what was your first question? You asked
unemployment claims dipping below
Yes.
1 million. How surprised are you that that's the figure and the direction we're going?
I'm not surprised, because under this president, he was the great jobs president once, brought us the greatest economy in modern history once, and he'll do it again. And this is more evidence of that, to see unemployment claims dip below 1 million, coming on the backs of a July jobs report that exceeded expectations. And of course, the 2 blockbuster jobs reports before that. It goes in line with the manufacturing ISM good numbers that we saw and many other metrics. This is the president who's already making sure we have an economic rebound that outpaces Europe and other countries as well. Steve.
Has the president been briefed on the Russian coronavirus vaccine? Does he think it's a workable vaccine?
The president has been briefed on that. He's also been briefed on our own vaccine progress. One thing to note, and I believe Dr. Fauci made this point, our vaccines go through rigorous phase 3 clinical trial where we have 30,000 individuals that we test to make sure it's perfectly healthy and moving forward. So that's the kind of standard we have for American vaccines, and it's important that we do that. But we do think that we'll have a vaccine by the end of the year, and the president, in advance of that, is manufacturing hundreds of millions of doses of these vaccines in anticipation of one being successful. Chanel.
Thank you, Kayleigh. Going back to Iran and Russia as geopolitical actors in the Middle East, they have been wellsprings of instability there, as we discussed, but how confident is this White House that Iran and Russia are finally going to be placed in their respective lanes in the advent of this deal and deals to come?
Well, look, we believe that there's a big contrast here in where this administration stands and the previous administration. And when you look at the, the Obama-Biden administration, they cozied up to America's enemies. The Iran deal was egregious. We know that there were cash payouts to Iran. And what this president has done is diametrically opposite, working with our allies, working with Israel, negotiating a historic peace agreement like hasn't been seen in a quarter of a century. So when you work with our allies, when you engage in diplomacy, when you have a great deal maker as president, you get deals like what we saw today, and it's stark contrast to what we saw from the previous administration. Yes.
Does the president share former Vice President Biden's view that annexation would virtually end any chance of a 2-state solution that would secure Israel's future as a Jewish and democratic state and uphold the right of Palestinians to a state of their own?
Yes, so I'm not going to go any further into the State of Middle East piece, I'd refer you to NSC on that. But today we're focusing on the historic agreement that's been made. Yes.
Was the president aware about these 2,000 letters between him and Chairman Kim that apparently are going to be published in the new Bob Woodward book? Did he sign off on that?
I haven't even looked into that or spoken to him about that. We're focused today on providing relief to the American people and the historic deal. Mario.
Thank you, Kayleigh. Will the president's executive order on WeChat block Apple from distributing that app on their platform? And if so, what does the administration say about concerns that it could be kneecapping an American company and diminishing its competitiveness?
So the only remarks I have for you today on TikTok and WeChat are this. The president, he signed those 2 executive orders exercising his authority under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to address the threats posed by TikTok and WeChat. The administration is committed to protecting the American people from all cyber threats, and these apps collect significant amounts of private data on users, and such information can be accessed and used by the PRC. And TikTok has a documented history of censoring free speech to conform to CCP propaganda, and we take the data of Americans very seriously. One other thing I wanted to clear up is that Speaker Pelosi has been fundamentally unserious in these negotiations and engaging in blatant partisanship. One thing she said recently is that she needs $3.5 billion with a B for election funding. That is a fundamentally unserious ask for this reason. I talked to the Office of Management and Budget. They said states have been given over $1.2 billion in election assistance grants since fiscal year 2018, and we estimate that they've spent less than a sixth of that funding in these 3 years, and still have over $1 billion of those funds sitting around right now that have not been spent. So we encourage for Speaker Pelosi to follow in the footsteps of the suggestion of Congressman Ro Khanna of her own party, who said, I think Congress should be in session. I think it's absurd for Congress to be going on a break during a pandemic and a national crisis. I can tell you one person who hasn't been on a break. It's this president providing relief for the American people. Thank you, and he'll be out here at 5:30. Thanks so much.
All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us here at Golden State Times for Kayleigh McEnany's awesome press briefing. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and you share it on social media. If you're new to the channel, we encourage you to subscribe and click that bell. Thank you so much for joining us here. President Trump is having a press conference later on today, 2:30 p.m. That is Pacific time. 5:30 p.m. That is Eastern time. So make sure you guys join us. The stream should be coming up on your screen. It's interactive. Just click on it and it'll take you to where that stream is going to be. Also, when you get to that stream, make sure that you set the reminder. Let me show you guys real quick how to do that if you do not know. So if you go to the main channel, it's already set up. The live stream is already set up for President Trump. Let me show you guys real quick how you can set the reminder. All right, here we go. Now we're going to switch over to, okay. So that is President Trump's live stream ready to go. So you set the reminder by clicking the button right here, right where it says live in 3 hours. Click the reminder, boom, and now the reminder is on. So once again, click the reminder right here. So that way you get notified when we go live for President Trump's press conference. We're ready to go here at Golden State Times. Thank you so much, folks, and we hope to see you guys at that live stream later on today. But until then, my name is Jen from Golden State Times. Thank you so much to all the Patriots who helped us out through Super Chat and through membership. Because of you, we're able to live stream President Trump's press conference and this press briefing. So thank you so much for your help. Also, if you are new to the channel, subscribe and click that bell. If you want to get notified also for President Trump's press conference later on today, make sure you go to our website, goldenstatetimes.com. Again, that's www.goldenstatetimes.com, and sign up to our email list. We will send you an email. If you sign up to our email list on our website, goldenstatetimes.com, we will send you an email when we go live. Thank you so much, folks, and we'll see you very soon. The link to the live stream should also be in the comment section below.